I'm Nick Saponaro, Chief Information Officer of the Divi project, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am your host, Chamber. I am joined by possibly the best intro we've had so far. I have Nick Saponaro here from the Divi project. Nick, how are you today?
Good. That was my audition, actually. I'm hoping that I can do all your intros from here on out.
Well, I tell you, we got Bunchu out with a bad throat. Your velvety voice might slide in there, no problem. It's a pleasure having you on today. We were chatting a little bit prior to the show starting. We are very excited about this project. I think it's got some interesting stuff. You're located obviously in the U.S. You're West Coast, correct?
That's right, San Diego.
San Diego. So you're getting. It was a very cold and rainy day. So I'm on the East Coast, up here in Canada. It was rain all day. It was just above freezing. They're just that awful. I think you'd mentioned you were from the East Coast. The bone hurting cold.
I know it well.
That starts to seep in. What was just for those who are suffering what I'm suffering right now? What was the temperature out in your area today?
I don't want to rub it in too much.
Rub it in a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it was 82 today.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it was definitely sweater weather here. Not in a good way either. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Divi. How long have you been with the project? How long has the project been going on for? What kind of time frame we're looking at?
Yeah, so we started the project. I've been with the project since its inception 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm a co-founder of the project, and that answers the other question, which is we've been around for 2 years. We launched our blockchain just over a year ago, and our desktop client. So we're very happy about that. That we've come this far with no issues so far. That's pretty much the rub of it. We launched amidst the pretty much the peak of the ICO boom.
Yes, you did.
And so that was definitely an interesting experience, which I'm happy to go into if you want to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you guys? Now we've talked to certain projects. Some of them ICO'd, some of them didn't. Did you have an ICO as well?
Yeah, we did a token sale, like I said, in 2017.
Yep.
And this was pretty much before any of the real guidance from the government was even available.
Right.
And a lot of companies chose to just say, screw it, we'll deal with it later. And we just saw EOS pay off a relatively small bill compared to what
exactly. I was going to say that's not a bad plan if you were them. I forgot how much. I think they were in the billions, and I think they just signed a check for about 24 million.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. I mean, and I'm curious too, because it's like, so would we say that happened to us, which it wouldn't because we complied with the regulations, but say it did happen to us where we only raised, $2.5 million, would we only be paying, $17,000?
Right.
Is it equivalent?
That seems reasonable.
Right. Or is it just a case by case? Because sadly, that case was settled out of court, so it didn't set any precedent. So now we have there's still no guidance really.
Well, and I think that we've been monitoring guidance from the IRS as of late, and it seems like some new guidances have dropped over the last few weeks, just for retail. I think more so for retail consumers. Were there more for companies themselves?
Well, we actually had to retroactively KYC our participants in the token sale, because initially it was just about blocking U.S. participants, their IP and having everyone sign a disclaimer, click the checkbox. That changed. It became, now you have to actually comply with KYC AML laws for anyone who's gone through your ICO. Right. So we had to, dude, it was not a fun day to announce that when we found out.
And to be honest, I think think a couple of projects had to do that. I'm more than positive that Tezos had to do that at a certain point, where they were locked up for a while, and the only way they could get people that participate in the ICO, the only way they could get their tokens was to KYC. They kind of held it at ransom a little bit at a certain point because they didn't have theirs. They waited a long time even to get theirs, and then by the time it was time to get them, they're like, "Nah, well, we actually have to KYC you first, and then you can get them." So I think that's more and more common. How was the transition? How was the KYC process for you guys?
Well, it wasn't an easy announcement to make. There was a lot of FUD. A lot of people at the time, our coins, our exchange tokens were trading on Cryptopia, which when it was still alive, I know, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of exactly. Pour one out for the homies.
No kidding.
So it didn't go over well, I'll say. A lot of people were dumping the coins and things like that. But what we did notice was that the people who really understood, including some Americans that kind of got burned in this process, they were like, you know what? This is actually incredibly beneficial for the long-term prospect of this project, because it means that now we're not going to get hit with a $24 million bill.
Yep.
And everyone's protected. It's not just about us being protected and not going to jail. It's about all of the people who participate in this ICO being able to report their taxes and do the things that allow them to enjoy the money they're making on crypto.
Well, I might be in the minority here, but I got into crypto in 2017, and it was very like, it was the anonymity was a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those same people also wanted, mass adoption and they wanted Bitcoin to go to $1 million. So John McAfee didn't have to eat anything in particular. But I was one of the people, or, probably one of a few people that thought, these types of things were good for crypto. I mean, it's not going to be, if you wanted to do what you wanted to do, being anonymous and this air of secrecy behind everything is not ideal for mass adoption. You need the KYC processes in place for companies to build. And for everybody to kind of, like you said, we got to cover ourselves as much as we can when it comes to, Big Brother, unfortunately. But
it's true. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, major hedge funds and private equity firms and VCs and things like that, their risk profile, will not allow them to invest in something that's that on the edge of society.
Of course.
And sadly, those are the market makers.
Mm-hmm.
If the banks are unwilling to invest, if the institutions are unwilling to invest, it's going to be really, really hard to get further. And I know it's the whole concept behind crypto is to beat the banks, and we can talk about that a little bit more because I'm still very gung-ho about that philosophy. But there's a way to do it that is more. We use like a Trojan horse analogy. Where you kind of beat them from the inside. You play by their rules, and then you change from the inside. I agree
100%. We were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, and we were discussing whether, banks as they're constituted right now, do we see them adopting crypto? Like, could you go to a Bank of America and take your weekly paycheck and maybe put 10% of that towards Bitcoin and still have that in your Bank of America account? Or are we going to see new crypto banks in general? I think we were reporting on a crypto bank starting up in Malta, and I think that's where that conversation came from. Are we going to see brand new banks based on crypto, or are we going to see current banks kind of adopting crypto as an option within their system?
I think we'll see. It'll be a long, long time before we see the major banks, the Wells Fargos and JP Morgan Chases of the world actually adopting.
I used Bank of America because I don't know many American banks, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a Bank of America.
There is. That's funny. I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes, there is a Bank of America.
Perfect. All right. I didn't want to seem like a jerk not knowing all the banking institutes in the U.S.
Yeah, no worries. But what we did at Divi is, and I don't know how deep you want to go into this, but we actually purchased a remittances company in Costa Rica. And with our investment, we're able to expand upon their business such that they're able to issue international bank account numbers, do worldwide remittances, and bank transfers all around the world. So basically, they become a new sort of bank. They're not really a banking institution where they can give loans and do those types of things.
Right.
And there's certainly no fractional reserve banking available, but they can do all of the things that a normal bank would outside of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that actually, because we own this new partner, we own a controlling share, we can actually set it up so that, you know, fees are paid in crypto and eventually lower the fees, hopefully to nothing, providing accounts to people who would have otherwise not been able to have a bank account. Right?
Because I think at the end of the day, that was the goal with Divi, was to provide banking for the unbanked, essentially, right? Is that,
yeah, I mean,
that's the master plan?
That's a big part of the goal. You know, our vision is really to make crypto mass adoptable. I mean, that's everyone's goal, right?
Of course.
But our strategy is based on the user experience, the consumer experience. And to actually achieve that vision, you have to take what I like to call like the Tesla approach, where you create a vertically integrated stack. So you have every service that the user needs at their service immediately.
Right.
Just like Tesla, basically from start to finish, builds their cars and even provides the electricity, the fuel in this case, for their consumer. And because of that, you know, they're beginning to dominate a large portion of that electric vehicle market. We're trying to do the same thing with crypto, where you can, you know, onboard yourself with your credit card or debit card, you know, with your fiat money, and out of it if you so need, and, you know, get a debit card that you can load up with your crypto and spend your crypto in the real world, as well as all of the other, you know, traditional services like sending crypto around and those things.
Right. So I think we should start with there are many highlights of the Divi project that I really, really like, but let's start with the basics. Let's start with the wallet. Sure. I know you had mentioned you had just deployed the desktop wallet.
Yeah.
What are some of the key highlights from the desktop wallet? It is very user friendly. I've had it now for a couple of weeks, just playing around with it. I found it extremely user friendly. What are some of the things that kind of separate it from the pack as far as desktop wallets go?
Well, first of all, we did away with the default, you know, QT wallet that comes with a lot of the forks that you'll end up using.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, those things are efficient enough, but they're super janky. Like, they're just... You've probably used them, right?
Absolutely. Hashtag janky wallets.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that's just frankly lazy. You know, sure, you could use it, but it comes with the fork. It's like you didn't even try.
Right.
So we started there. We said, okay, let's do away with that, and let's really take it from a perspective of how finance apps work today. You know, how does your PayPal look? How does your Venmo look? Square Cash and those things. And from there, we decided we would start with, after we made the interface, you know, clean and usable, we decided we would start with the part of crypto that I think everyone's most interested in, which is earning money, right?
That is true.
And you can't rely on any of these coins to go up or down or stay flat. It's completely volatile.
That is
but what you can
accurate.
do, it's very. I think the name of your podcast implies that pretty heavily, right?
You are correct, sir.
So we wanted to make a mechanism that allowed anyone to earn cryptocurrency, and the best way to do that is to actually average your position. Now, not everyone has the resources to just continuously buy and buy and buy, so we created a masternode system that anyone could deploy, and that's kind of what we've been riding on since we launched, and it's still pretty well recognized as the easiest way to set up a masternode.
The feedback I've seen on social media has been exactly that. I mean, everybody is saying this is the simplest masternode to utilize, to kind of make work for you. I mean, myself, we were chatting beforehand. I'm not a tech guy. I'm not a miner. I'm one of these people, like you said, you know, that got into crypto, and I started to average in as much as I could. And then, you know, you're averaging in 2017, then 2018 goes by. Now we're almost, you know, at the end of 2019. I'm like, man, I've been averaging in for a long time. These types of things, like you say, passive income, ways to generate income without necessarily coming out of pocket is really, really key. And yeah, like I said, the feedback has been that this is the simplest the simplest way to get a Masternode and that everybody can use it. I think I want to say 1 click, possibly 2 clicks. How many clicks are we before you can...
we say 1 click, but it does require that you
turn on your computer,
pay for it, and there's other clicks involved. Of course, you have to subscribe with PayPal and things like that. But
right.
But the actual deployment is technically 1 click, and it's as easy as signing up for an online account or like Spotify or something like that and pressing play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's now explain a little bit the PayPal portion of this. Now there's a $10 monthly fee, and what does that do?
Yeah, so the monthly fee is actually for hosting. So we're hosting the node for you in the cloud. Now, I don't want to confuse this with us hosting your coins. The Masternode never holds your keys. It never holds your coins. It's completely, under your ownership at all times, and you can dismantle it at any time. So I just want to get that out of the way. But yeah, so we're just taking a small fee on top of what it costs to host these Masternodes. And that's really just to support a lot of the infrastructure costs that are required to actually make this work. And we've seen some of our competitors who offer extremely low pricing already starting to falter a little bit.
Right.
Because
I think $10 is fairly reasonable considering I believe the tier, I know there's tier payouts based on how much you're putting into your Masternode.
That's right.
And I mean, it pays for itself at least 3 times over at the very least, right?
Yeah, right now all of the node tiers or levels of entry are profitable. But I can't speak to the future, obviously.
Of course.
But of course, yeah. I mean, it's definitely, they're all paying for themselves and then some, which is very
exactly.
nice.
And that's what you want. Now for those, just maybe to shine a little light on the cloud portion of this. So, for example, if I put this on my laptop, okay, and I sign up. And I have enough Divi to support a Masternode. I sign up with PayPal. Do I have to leave my computer running all the time? Am I able to turn it off? Is it still collecting? Does this for those, again, we want to make sure this is simple enough for everybody to use, but some of these questions may pop up for certain users. What do I have to do on my end to make sure everything's working properly?
It's definitely a common question and a great one. It's not required that you leave your computer running at all times. Once you deploy the Masternode, it is running in the cloud, and it's basically secured by your local wallet. And that's how you manage the Masternodes. If you ever wanted to take it down or upgrade to the next level of node, which there are 5 different levels, then you would want to turn your computer on and manage it that way. But no, once it's set up and it says, it goes through the process and gives you a little check mark, you can turn your computer off for the foreseeable future if you want to. That's
fantastic. I mean, that's huge for people too, because I think that's when you're talking Masternodes, a lot of people kind of associate that with mining, and we all know what miners sound like in the background, and the cost of power and all that fun stuff. So with this, with this cloud, this monthly cloud payment, it's essentially giving you the opportunity to do all that without having to run, computers in the background for 24/7. So that's pretty impressive.
And a lot of people use their computer for multiple things, right?
Absolutely, right?
Exactly.
Right. I was going to say, now the desktop wallet is fantastic. I know there is talk of mobile wallets as well. Is that something that's coming in the future?
Yeah, it's definitely our main focus at the moment. We basically had a mobile solution finished, actually. Okay. About 2 or 3 months ago now. And it really, the further we got into the dev cycle, the less I liked it. And so it just wasn't right. It didn't live up to the standard that we were trying to live up to. So we actually threw that one out, and we have been working on a brand new one, which you can see. Yeah, you can see some screenshots now if you go to...
Yes, I'm actually just looking at them now, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's wallet.diviproject.org. And it has all of the features that we really need, which starts with, of course, Masternodes. So you can actually deploy a Masternode or stake from your phone. You'll be able to name your public address, so you're not dealing with the crazy string of numbers and letters.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, you can if you want, of course.
Sure.
Alongside a bunch of other really unique and user-friendly features that I think will bring our product to a more mainstream level, because I think people there's an expectation, right? Users are expecting it to be as good or better than what they're already using. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep using Square Cash, right?
Exactly.
Not everybody cares about decentralization and distributed ledger technology and these
I would
things.
almost argue the majority of the people, like once crypto is off and running, I think those things will be less and less important for the majority. You're still going to have your core fans of decentralization and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I think at the end of the day, the vast majority will be more keen for ease of use. I think is the route people are going. Now with this app, I don't know if you're able to tell me this, for those running, for those staking or running masternodes, will you be able to access that through the phone app as well?
Yeah, so you'll be able to do everything. Basically, we're going to come out with a mobile app and a new desktop app that work interoperably. So
that's fantastic.
You can actually check your masternodes and all of that stuff from either device, and it's completely synced between the two. And yeah, I think that experience is much more seamless than some of the things that I've seen that already exist in the industry. But again, it's something that's like so obvious, like I just don't understand. And I go to a lot of conferences and I talk to a lot of people in this industry and they all say, yeah, we need to make it easier. So why aren't you?
Yeah, we know this. We've heard this for many years now, and yet very few people are actually doing anything about it.
Right. But I think we're now seeing more people from the traditional world coming into this industry. And I believe that we'll start to see a lot better user experiences moving forward.
Okay, so we talked about one-click masternodes. Can we talk a little bit about no-click staking?
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. So the staking for our system is as easy as basically unlocking your wallet for staking and letting it run. We have solutions that allow you to do it on a Raspberry Pi if you want to do that, if you're like really into microcomputers and stuff like that, which I know I am. But yeah, it's as simple as that. As long as you have 10,000 coins, you can stake. That's
Fantastic.
it. And for every stake reward you win, you actually get entered into our weekly lottery. We're still the only blockchain that has a built-in lottery into the consensus state. So actually, every time you win, you basically get a lottery ticket. And then once a week, 11 of those tickets are selected. And basically 10 people get 25,000 Divi, and one person gets 252,000 Divi. I'm
sorry, is that once a week?
That's once a week.
So one lucky winner gets 252,000 Divi once a week?
That's right.
That's crazy. That's fantastic.
It's fun.
So all you need is 10,000 Divi to stake, and away you go, essentially?
Away you go. Yeah, as long as your computer's on and connected to the internet, you're good to go.
Right.
And we've seen people, nodes with all levels of Divi staked win, even the big lottery. I know a buddy of mine even said he won one of the small lotteries, staking less than 100,000.
Now, the lottery is only available for staking, not for masternodes, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to be.
So if you're staking if you're using your Divi for a masternode, we can't use those for staking.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And then obviously the lottery and stuff like that only applies to the staking people.
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this is pretty cool. We deal with a lot of projects, and we've had this show now for about a year and a half. And, I think we've done, almost 200 episodes now.
Wow.
We've talked. Yeah, geez. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sometimes it's like, holy geez, I think we could pump the brakes a little bit on the production. But we love it. But my co-host and I think we're each other's only friend. So talking a couple of times a week and recording it seems to work well. Keeps us social a little bit. So I think that's probably the majority of the reason why we put out so much content. But this is definitely, I would say, just looking at it at face value, Very beautiful, easy to use, obviously desktop wallet. But the other stuff is very interesting. Like I said, I think the feedback from everybody has been easiest masternode. I love the lottery. I was going to bring that up. The lottery aspect for the staking is very cool. I like that. And then there's not necessarily, depending on your level of staking, I like the fact that even if you're staking 10,000 Divi, you can still win versus if you're staking 1,000,000 Divi. Right. So I like that very much. Now, let's talk about what maybe some of the next steps. Obviously, we talked about the future of the wallet with mobile and desktop kind of speaking to each other. Are there any other plans for the near future that you're able to discuss, or anything that you want to tease the listeners with?
Yeah, well, our big focus as well, outside of the mobile arena is the business development side of things, which, like I mentioned, we did buy the remittances company, or acquire the stake in the remittances company.
Yes.
So we're expanding that rapidly. We just opened our second office. So we actually have physical offices where people are remitting about $100,000 a month per store. And all of these people are going to be introduced to cryptocurrency moving forward. And we're going to open 5 more locations throughout Costa Rica. And we always open them like 300 yards, or 300 meters, I should say, away from a Western Union.
Really? So, that's very smart.
Yeah, we're really just trying to take them on, and the fees are much lower, and it actually remits much faster than Western Union as well. Near future teasers, I don't know that we have anything I can actually say right now.
No, that's fair. I gotta ask these questions. Sometimes people slip up and they tell us stuff, so
yeah.
I figured I'd put that out there. Yeah. So, if somebody's inclined in participating in some of the staking or purchasing enough for a masternode, where can people go and pick up some Divi?
At the moment, we're on Bitrue is our biggest exchange, and I know they're not very well known, but they are a really strong team, and I think they can become really competitive. So definitely check out bitrue.com. And then we're on
that's Bitrue.
That's it. Yep. That's
okay.
Correct.
Perfect.
And we're on a couple of different services like Swift and Crypto Wolf, which are kind of like those swap type of services.
Yep.
And then some smaller exchanges as well, and you can find all those on our website.
Perfect. So, I guess for as far as volume goes, as far as picking up a good amount, Bitrue would be the one to go with.
That's our most liquidity is there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Is there anything else? I feel like we've touched on all the goodies.
Yeah.
That time of the year, we're big Halloween fans here at REKT Podcast. We actually drafted our favorite horror movie franchises last week. Are you a big horror movie guy?
Love horror movies. Halloween's my favorite holiday.
Oh my goodness, man! Did you pick the right day to come on? Because Bunchu is not a big Halloween guy. I am a huge Halloween guy. Do you have a favorite horror movie franchise that you like to watch kind of every year, or is there something new that you like that's coming out?
You know what sucks is like there hasn't been an amazing horror movie recently. There just hasn't. Like it had a lot of attention.
I agree.
But it just wasn't what I expected.
I agree. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. So
I'm a huge Stephen King fan as well.
Okay, perfect. I'm actually in the midst of reading. What am I reading? I'm reading what is it called? I'll tell you right now. Hang on one second. Not The Stranger, The Outsider.
Oh, The Outsider.
That's kind of I think it's the second latest book. It's very, very good. So if you haven't read that one, I recommend it. But
Definitely.
Yeah, huge Stephen King fan. I was a fan of the first 8. I haven't seen the second chapter yet. But yeah, big fan. But you're 100% correct. There hasn't been the times I do find horror movies that are good, I usually find them from a different country. Like Australia's put out some good horror movies in the kind of recent more recent times. But I'll tell you the one I did really, really like, and I think it came out last year on this time, was on Netflix. Have you seen Haunting at Hill House?
Yeah, that was actually a really solid series.
I
was
agree.
Really surprised.
And I've preached that one to people that aren't even big into horror. I'm like, you can watch this. This is solid.
It's just as much a drama as it is 100%. A horror movie.
And to me, that's that was the best, quote unquote horror content that I've seen in the past probably 5 years or so.
Yeah, but you know what it comes down to, man? It's the fact that it was a series. So you can actually get deep into the underlying psychology of each character.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes horror movies scary. The jump scare thing is over, right? We know that's coming. And the little eerie sounds, it just doesn't work as well anymore. You need that psychological aspect.
And that's what we're used to, I think, as a society, is these... we're taking in this kind of entertainment in 8-hour to 10-hour sections, you know what I mean? Like eight 1-hour episodes or 10 1-hour episodes, not an hour and 45-minute movie, right? Correct. So it's I'm with you. I think that's the best way to go. The gentleman that directed that, I'm a big fan. He's a big Stephen King fan. He's doing the new Shining movie, the Dr. Sleep movie.
Oh, nice.
So the director of that's going to be directing that. So I tend to watch him a lot because he's got a lot of Stephen King in him. So he's I'm a big fan of his. So let's talk a little bit about Halloween candy. Now, I live in Canada. Bunchu and I were chatting the other day, and it turns out there's a lot of candies that I get here in Canada that he doesn't get in the U.S. So I actually, I think our next episode, maybe next week sometime, we're going to be, he'll be giving me his feedback on the Canadian candy that I sent him. So I sent him I think 200 pieces of Canadian candy to get his feedback on. Do you have a go-to Halloween candy?
I'm a big chocolate guy, and you know what's funny? Like when I was a kid, I didn't love candy. I'd always go trick-or-treating and come home with a huge haul, my whole pillowcase full of candy, and then I'd eat 2 Reese's peanut butter cups, and that was it. My mom would just put it in the freezer, give it out next year or whatever. But no, yeah, so I'm a big chocolate guy. Reese's cups, pretty much any chocolate peanut butter combo thing is gonna get my attention.
I think the vast majority of people are with you. We drafted our favorite candies in the past, and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups always goes first. I don't know what it is about chocolate and peanut butter that just, it's a magical combination for the ages.
It really is. It's insane.
I'm sure the indigenous people of millennia ago figured out a way to mix up peanuts and cocoa beans together and be like, this is delicious. This is the way of the future. Now, what we normally do too is we like to discuss any sort of I like when I get together with, we just had Canadian Thanksgiving here in Canada past weekend. When I get together with family and friends, because I'm a big horror movie fan, I'm big into the supernatural a little bit. I like to watch as many documentaries as I can on that kind of stuff. Do you have any fun or maybe interesting spooky things that have happened to you in real life? I always bring up again, I've been into this for a very long time. I always joke about being a big Bigfoot fan, how when I retire, I'm just going to go into the mountains and try and take a pick of one eventually. Yeah. But so I've been into supernatural stuff and kind of been watching it for a very, very long time. And I've really only had one experience myself. I do a lot of driving for work, or I used to. And I was coming back home one day, and I was with my wife, and we were on kind of a major highway here in Canada. And it's kind of like a 6-lane highway, divider in the middle, kind of like a pony wall, maybe 4 feet off the ground kind of thing. And we're driving back, and we're probably about an hour away from the house. And we're chit-chatting about whatever we're talking about. And we both notice this guy sitting on, this pony wall separating the two sides of the highway, and just watching cars go by. And we didn't really pay attention to it as we were driving by, but about maybe 5-10 seconds later, we kind of looked at each other like, was there a guy just sitting there? Like there was no exit, there was no car. Like I could see if like there was a car broken down and the guy was just maybe waiting for a tow or something. There was nothing like that. It was just like a guy sitting there, and there was no exit. There was kind of like a part of the highway that was just highway. Like you'd have to like come from a field in the middle of nowhere, you know, cross one side of the highway and then sit in the middle of it. And what we did notice with this particular guy is he had like what I kind of classified as like late 70s, early 80s attire, like kind of like tight jeans with like a farmer shirt tucked into his pants, but a very very 70s kind of look to him. And that kind of, my wife and I kind of looked at each other like, what the hell was that? And it's definitely to this day, bewildered us. I actually brought, this was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. This happened to us. And I was telling the story to somebody, in that area. And they were telling me a story about in the 80s, they had a cousin or family member that was, that went up the wrong side of the highway, like got on the wrong, on the wrong ramp, and was basically driving up the wrong side of the highway drunk, and actually got into a car accident in that area. And then we kind of looked at each other like what the hell, like what are you just telling me right now? Did I see that go? Yeah. So have you anything weird? Have you seen a Bigfoot? Have you seen a UFO? Have you seen a ghost? Has a tap turned on by itself while you were in the washroom? Anything weird like that?
I swear my dad lived in a haunted house for a while when we lived back in Jersey. And such weird stuff would always happen in that house. I have always wanted to be one of those people that like connects with the other side of the universe and things like that.
Of course,
I feel like I've never been so fortunate to really experience anything like that, at least firsthand. Except my dad's haunted house, of course. But we had this thing when I was a kid, pretty much around the age that we were all getting our driver's licenses, and I grew up in South Jersey. So there was this, I lived not far from, the few remaining farms in Jersey. It's called the Garden State, but if you visit Jersey, you'll realize
I'm familiar with Jersey a little bit. How far would you be from like the Pine Barrens?
Yeah, so the Pine Barrens are definitely, it's probably like an hour and a half from where I live.
Okay, all right. I know that's a very spooky place from what I understand.
Yeah, we definitely, my 5th grade trip was to the Pine Barrens, and the Jersey Devil lives out there.
Right, exactly.
So we definitely have those cool like folklore things. One of the fun things we did as kids was there was something called the Atco Ghost, and it was this old movie theater that had closed down a long, long time ago, but it was still there, and they never built anything else there because it was kind of like in the middle of nowhere, even though it was off of a highway. Mm-hmm. And you go out there, and you're in your car, and you have to like face a certain direction and turn off your lights, and then you speed through the parking lot, and then you stop at a certain point and turn your lights on, and there's the ghost. So that's probably the closest I've come to. It's more you're just freaked out because you're speeding in pitch black, but it
so
does.
Did you see a ghost?
Well, I think what it really comes down to is it's always foggy and, cold out there. So when your lights come on, you're just seeing the fog illuminated from your lights. Yeah. But it's definitely the Atco Ghost. So don't, it's...
That's awesome.
So that's as close as I got.
That's pretty good. So, but you said your dad's place was haunted? Like what would he report to you?
Yeah, so this house, first of all, was a money pit, right? If you've ever seen that old school movie.
I'm very familiar with Money Pit.
Yeah, so... And it seemed like everything he fixed, something else broke. But even when something wasn't under construction, at somewhere else in the house, like, the dryer would come on, even though there's no clothes in there. Things like that would happen throughout the house. You hear the footsteps and things like that you might attribute to the house settling or something like that. But the house settle, what a house settling sounds like.
First of all, I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard that, it's the house settling, it's the house settling, it's the house settling. I've lived in multiple homes. I've never heard my house settle. I live in I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say my current house is not haunted. It doesn't make a noise. Yeah, my fridge makes a noise sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the ice maker might, move or something. But my house doesn't settle. I don't. I've never been a huge fan of. Oh, it's just the house settling. When have you ever heard a house settle?
Right. Well, I think our brains want to make sense of everything.
Of course.
But have you ever had a dog or a cat? Have you ever
I've had a cat.
in the house?
Yeah, I've had a cat.
So cats especially do this, where they're like intently staring at something that's just not there for you. Mm-hmm. What is that? That's always freaked me out. And it's like you can't take their eyes off it. You'll snap in front of their face and call their name, and it's just like they are attached to whatever they're seeing. That's always been freaky.
I agree 100%. Well, I think they're able to see a different spectrum than we are. Like just scientifically
true.
speaking, they can see better than we can when they see more. But I know what you're talking about, and I've seen it with cats before. And when my cat has done that in the past, I've just kind of I'm like, he's probably just looking at a spider or something that I can't see, or you know what I mean.
But again, you're just trying to explain it, man.
Absolutely. I'm not looking to live in a haunted house.
Yeah.
As much as I like to,
it kills the resale value. It
sure does. It sure does. But that's interesting. I like a good. It's funny because my co-host Bunchu, he was originally from Jersey as well, and he was talking about you guys. I don't know how big Jersey is. It's not immensely big, right? So you guys probably
no, it's not huge.
Yeah, like you might know the similar areas, but I believe he was talking about a place where you could park your car and like put like baby powder on the bumper, and then you would see like fingerprint. Like apparently there was like a school bus accident or something like that, and like you park in this particular place, and you could put and you would see like fingers on the bumper, you know what I mean, of the kids like pushing you out of the way. I think you had to park like on a train track or something like that. I think
there's always rules to it.
There's always rules to it. I like yours. Turning off your lights, driving extremely fast in a movie theater parking lot, and then turning on the lights again. That's the first time I've ever heard of that one. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
okay. So we're gonna finish it off with some rapid fire here. Okay. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You just let me know what your answer is as fast as you can or as slow as you want. My rapid fires usually turn into slow fires, slow burns, if you will. We'll start with, what was your favorite, as a child or as an adult, what was your favorite Halloween costume?
Ooh, Spider-Man probably?
As a child or as an adult?
As a child.
Okay, all right. You never know. I like that. I got to ask these questions. So we asked, obviously, your favorite Halloween candy.
Actually, no. I'm going back on that one.
All right, what do you got?
I'm going back on that one. I was Santa Claus one year. My mom made this awesome costume for Halloween, and I'm going back for that one.
I really like that idea. I don't think I've seen that much. Combining the holidays. I like this. Yeah. Okay, we'll stay in your youth. As a kid, who was your celebrity crush growing up?
Probably Jessica Alba. I loved her as a kid.
Good call. Nothing wrong with that. She's a very lovely lady. Okay, let's go with. We did Halloween costume. Okay, it's zombie apocalypse time. Okay,
love it.
All right, you have one weapon to choose, and this is the only weapon you're going to be getting for the entire zombie apocalypse. What do you go with?
Sword.
Nice. Any particular style, like a Jon Snow super sword, or like maybe like Michonne katana?
I think Michonne definitely had a smart idea with that katana. I think I'll go with the katana.
I agree. It's lightweight, easy to use, extremely sharp. I like it.
Reusable too. You can use it
absolutely.
an unlimited number of times.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite karaoke song?
One time I did My Name Is by Eminem for a group of older gentlemen.
That is a group of older gentlemen.
There's probably, I was in Palm Springs and we were just, having a drink at some bar, probably more than one. And yeah, I chose that song. I couldn't believe it was on this particular restaurant's karaoke list, so I had to do it.
And was it was it bleeped out?
No, well, I didn't bleep it out.
No. That's awesome.
There's probably a video floating out there somewhere.
That's fantastic. All right. I like it. You know, what we found, because we asked that question, I would say for the good majority of our guests, and we're always pleased to hear that the majority of the people in crypto are also have done karaoke at some point or are very big into karaoke. We had Charlie Shrem on, I don't know if it was last year maybe, and we were chatting with him, and he goes to a karaoke bar once a week and shuts it down. I think it's probably Saturday night, and he stays to the end.
Really?
Yeah, all the time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Charlie Shrem, big karaoke guy. I think he actually took, I think him and who's our buddy over at What Bitcoin Did? Can't think of his name now. Anyways, I think he was doing an interview with him, and they went karaokeing together as well. So I'm always pleased to hear that people in crypto are also into karaokeing. So I'm sure we'll. Do you go to these? I guess we should probably chat about this too. We have WCC coming up in Vegas in a couple of weeks. Will Divi be at that?
We are going to be there. We have a booth there. We're going to be doing the Token Tank live. I think. All right,
this is a free bit of advice from REKT Podcast to Divi Project. I would chat with whoever you can. Get a little karaoke machine at your booth. You will. Really? Everybody will come. You will have all of the people.
That's a great idea. I'm doing it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was that's my recommendation. We were trying to get a REKT Podcast house for WCC. We were trying to we were working on it a little earlier this year, and then it turns out we both couldn't make that weekend. But I think next year what we're going to try and do is have kind of a crypto. I don't want to call it a party house, but more of a fun house. You know what I mean? It'll be kind of like a go-to spot while we're in Vegas. So
that sounds awesome.
I think I'm a big Vegas fan, so we got to make sure we represent. But I think that'll be a fun one this year. I think last year was around Halloween as well.
It was.
So I think that's always a good time to go. I have 2 kids, so it's hard for me to get away, especially my favorite holiday, and then having 2 little monsters to collect candy for me is really, really good. I highly recommend it. If only for Halloween you should have children.
Okay.
You should be able to rent kids just for Halloween, just so you can take like 7 of them trick or treating and take all their candy. I don't know if there's a business plan there. There's probably
that's a good business.
There's probably some red tape to get through.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm a little worried about that.
I just want to rent 7 kids for like 3 hours so I can take them trick or treating. So
we just need your ID sign here.
It's perfectly fine. It's totally above board. My neighbors won't give me candy anymore. I actually, I laugh, but as a kid, I was, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm like 6'4", but as a kid, I was like ridiculously tall. So like I kind of stopped growing at like 14 or 15, and I got denied. I think I was in the 5th grade, and I was going trick or treating. So I don't know how old you are, like 8 or 9 maybe. And a lady said, "No, you're too old to be trick or treating," and denied me. And I ran home crying. And I never trick or treated again.
You're never too old.
That's what I said. And then, but yeah, this lady got in my head, and I gave out the candy. I think from 10 years old and on. And then I had kids. Fast forward 30 years later, whatever it is. I'm like, oh yeah, now I dress up with them. We go out trick or treating. It's a great time. So awesome. yeah, no, it's a good time. Anyways, I won't take up much more of your time. That does it for my rapid fire questions. Nick, I just want to give you the floor here to let people know where they can find you. I know we are big on Telegram, right? This is our go-to spot for Divi information.
Definitely. Yeah, we love our Telegram community. Definitely join us there. It's at Divi Project. If you just search in Telegram. Yep. And we're actually the same on all of the social media, so across
that makes it very, very
Twitter,
easy.
Instagram, everything. So yeah, at Divi Project, and come chat with us. We have a really welcoming, inviting community that may even tip you in Divi if you mention that you heard us on the REKT podcast.
What? That's a no-brainer, people. So we'll make sure to have a link to the Telegram in the show notes. Where can people find you on Twitter? Do you have a Twitter handle you like to share with us?
So I'm at NSAP Productions, NSAP Productions, which is a remnant from my old DJing days that I can't change. But yeah, I got verified under that name, and if you change your username, it's over.
I would keep. I don't care what I was doing before. If I got verified, I'm never changing that.
Yeah, it's something I got to keep a hold on to. But yeah, definitely come chat with me on Twitter and or in Telegram. Either way works for me.
That is fantastic. So yeah, like I said, we'll make sure we'll link the website, the wallet, the Telegram. I'll make sure to link your verified Twitter handle. No big deal. No big deal. But yeah, anything else you'd like to share with us, Nick?
Get wrecked.
You buddy, you took the words right out of my mouth. All right, guys, for myself, Chamber, and for Nick of Divi Project, until next time, don't get wrecked. And that is financial advice.